Oh boy, we have new spy photos of the 2027 BMW 7 Series facelift, and this is a pretty substantial facelift. What they're going to do here, not just to the front end and the rear end, but also the interior. The interior, it's not going to go in the right direction here because we're going to get this iDrive X, which is a full panoramic screen that you have at the base of the windshield on the interior side, where you can configure almost like a big phone where you can slide your apps and do all kinds of things, which is probably going to be in the production version of the next BMW 7 Series. Are we going in the right direction again? I'm going to ask myself that question, and the answer is continuously going to be no. But before we jump into this, I have some exciting news. I've actually teamed up with Tire Rack to give you the best deals and promos that they have for wheel and tire setups, the parts and accessories, free shipping within the US. This is only available for US and Canada, so if you're looking for new wheels and tires, or maybe a lift kit for your truck, red lift or something like that, go and check out the link down below, which always gonna have the best promos that Tire Rack are currently running for their entire inventory of products. I'm going to link that down below. Not only will you save a lot of money, you're also supporting the channel by using that link. So with that said, let's check out these two articles, and both are from BMW Blog. Let's see what this is all about here. 2027 BMW 7 Series facelift spotted with split headlights. New spy photos revealed the biggest changes yet, from split headlights to iDrive X, shaping up to be more than a subtle update. BMW deliberately hid the separate LED daytime run lights. Not anymore. New spy photos images confirm what some will consider their worst fear about the G70's mid-cycle refresh. You can see that right here. We have a very thin LED up here, and instead of having the headlights like we have right now in a horizontal way like this, now the headlight is dipping down all the way to this area here. So we have almost a vertical slot for the headlight unit and a horizontal thin slot up top for the daytime lights. So we're creating almost like a T shape for the key graphics in the front end of the BMW. Very we can call it interesting. So rectangular cutouts in the swirly camouflage reveal a slim light strip positioned at the very top of the front bumper. That's what we talked about right here. The main headlight sitting much lower. Classic bumper headlights. This could mean that the next generation X7 will also have split headlights. But I do think the X7 already has split headlights, if I'm not mistaken, with the facelift that they made. So moving to the back, it appears a wide light bar is hiding in plain sight. I'm not sure what light bar they are talking about here, because I really can't see a light bar because of all the camo, and definitely not in plain sight. Maybe they're seeing something I don't. They probably have more experience looking at spy photos and camouflaged vehicles like this than me, so they probably know what they're talking about. We're probably going to have a big light bar in this area. The test car had temporary clear taillights, which would be pretty cool to see, old Lexus IS first generation style, but the shape, size, and position are all likely final. The single exhaust tip, don't see a single exhaust on this image either. Maybe it's this one right here. Is this an exhaust tip? I'm not entirely sure, but we definitely do not have a big diffuser back here, at least not underneath with all this camo that we can't see. But they say that you have a single exhaust tip somewhere underneath here. The bumper confirms this is a combustion engine 7 Series rather than the fully electric i7. The charging port on the front fender is missing as well, so this isn't a cheap plug-in hybrid either. I'm not sure why they would call it cheaper, because cheap is the i7 and the 7 Series in general is not a cheap vehicle. It doesn't matter what version you choose. It might be cheaper than the than the 760 or something like that. So the rear quarter angle suggests that iDrive 8 is a thing of the past. You would think that's a good thing. Finally, we're getting rid of this static, square, dual screen setup. Yes, they're making some changes to the interior. However, Is it for the better? No, it's not, because we're going to get this iDrive X system, which goes panoramic vision projection at the base of the windshield. We saw that at CES this year, and it's going to be implemented in the 7 Series here. Pretty sad to see that. It will also be mostly be an Alpina version of the 7 Series facelift. That's going to be cool. Hopefully they bring back the multi-spoke Alpina wheels, some of the best looking. If you see an Alpina E38 7 Series, it's such a beautiful car. I mean, one of the probably top 3 sedan designs of all time is the E38 Alpina with the, I think there were 21-inch wheels with, you know, almost 20 spokes or something like that. Beautiful, beautiful car. The first car is expected to roll up the assembly line in July of 2026. If our sources are correct, that would mean the official reveal won't happen this year. Let's jump into the renderings here. So I think BMW blog, they did a good job of rendering the spy photos. If you look at the spy photos, there's really not a lot to work with here. Everything is covered up, but you can see we have a new shape for the grille. We can clearly see that this is a new shape. I actually do prefer this shape of the grille compared to the current one that doesn't have a direction either up or down. This seems to be a little bit narrower, at least in the lower section here, going up to a wider base at the top, which I kind of like, and it's supposed to look something like this. So the grille section is not bad at all. I kind of like it. I don't want it to stick up into this M5 front intake in the front end. I want to have some separation here with the bodywork from the kidneys and the lower section of the intake right here. You can also see that we now have very, very thin light strip with these 2 slots. I'm not sure if it's going to be one single LED horizontal like this. It kind of looks like we have one horizontal LED up front there. I'm not sure if they're going to go with that or if they're going to do this type of styling that we have here. And then you have the big headlight unit sitting now vertically down into the very low down. So here is the rear end and the front end as well. I do think the rear end looks pretty cool, to be honest, with this light strip. And then we're going to have the BMW logo separating the light strip right here, the light bar, and then it's a little bit of a hockey stick design here. I think the rear end looks pretty decent, to be honest. It still looks very tall. I mean, compare this to previous 7 Series, and this feels like it sits a lot higher up, and that is of course because it needs to be an electric vehicle as well with the i7, meaning that they need to house a battery pack up underneath here, which means of course that the entire vehicle is going to sit a little higher or taller than other previous 7 Series. So gone are the dual horizontal units, replaced by vertical stacked light signatures now cleverly tucked into the outer edges of the front fascia. Talking about the headlights here. The kidney grills themselves undergo a transformation. A good one, I would say, taller, more angular as well, and with horizontal slats suggesting an M performance trim. But perhaps the biggest visual flourish is the full iconic glow surround, meaning that the entire grille now is illuminated. I'm not sure if they had it in the current 7 Series. I know they had it on the 5 Series for sure, the M5 as well. Illuminated grills. So the rear end looks pretty decent to me. It looks pretty good looking. The front end, not so sure. I mean, the grills are just massive, and then you have these very, very tiny, super small headlight unit, daytime run light unit up here with the big headlights being covered up, almost blacked out. You can't really see it. If this was black, you would definitely have a very hard time seeing exactly where the headlights are sitting. So with that said, let's jump into Photoshop here and have a look at these spy photos and the design of the new 7 Series, comparing it to the current one that we have all the way down low. I'm going to show you exactly what I think is better in the new one. I'm going to link the articles, BMW blog, of course, down below in the description as well if you want to go and read them yourself. Now look at the grille here. This is my favorite update of the new 7 Series for sure, is the new grille design, because now you can see that it had the base at the bottom sits a lot narrower inside. It goes inwards at the bottom and then goes to a wider base at the top, or wider angle at the top, which I really like. It also looks like we have a separation, clear separation of the grills here. We have vertical slots. These are probably active slots that we have inside of the grill. Maybe this is the radar right here, and this is also covered up for some reason. I'm not entirely sure why. But you can see the headlight unit. This seems to be a body piece, so it doesn't stick inwards now like we have in the current one. Instead, these are probably going to go downwards just like they had in the renderings. And we have a tiny small little LED up here this is just too small. I mean, compare the graphics and the proportions between the key graphics. Massive grills in the front end, very small daytime run light up top, and the headlight is big, but it's dark, so you can't really make that out as a key graphic piece in the front end. This intakes looks very similar to what we have in the new M5. I think it's going to be something similar to that as well. Looks like we might have some airflow going in here as well, since they open up the camo here to let this new 7 Series breathe properly. And the rendering is a good looking rendering. I mean, the style of rendering looks great. It's just the design that of the daytime run lights that I'm not so sure about. But the thing here, if I think about this from a BMW standpoint, the key graphics, we still have them here. We have them intact. Key graphics for the headlight unit, 2 elements in the light unit there. We have 2 kidneys separated, of course, and a full illuminated grille for the outside. But these grills with these angles that we have right now look so much better than the current 7 Series that we have down here, because look at this, it doesn't have a movement either up or down. If we put a center line right here, the top half look identical to the lower half, almost like a low poly circle, and we don't want to have that for the kidneys in the front end. We need to have a direction for these. So I do like that we now have more of an angle like this in the kidneys, which looks a lot better in my opinion. And not so sure about the headlight position in here and these chamfers that we have. Interesting chamfer going on here, for example. Then we have this chamfer at the lower section as well. Pretty interesting design from BMW. The weird thing about this is they are refreshing every single BMW in their lineup now to be in line with the Neue Klasse design, but this is definitely not Neue Klasse style for the 7 Series. Maybe it's too big of a change and too expensive of a change, and the 7 Series in general might be too new to just implement a brand new Neue Klasse design for it. But then when you think about the 5 Series and the M5, they're doing exactly that. The M5 has only been out for a couple of years tops, and they're already refreshing that with a brand new Neue Klasse face, which I think is going to look pretty cool when that comes out eventually. Now this, you can see the headlight unit on the current 7 Series goes horizontal instead of a vertical like we have right now in this rendering up here with this headlight unit right there. And we also have this being the M Sport package. I mean, you want to go with the M Sport 100% for the 7 Series. Without it, something happens down here that looks very strange, and I am not a fan of the non-M Sport package for the 7 Series at all, to be honest. It just looks very strange. This looks a lot more defined. So overall, it's going to be interesting to see this refresh, specifically the interior and how that is going to be received. How customers of the 7 Series are going to think with this, think about this new the iDrive X system with this big panoramic screen at the base of the windshield. If I was paying $100,000 plus for a vehicle like this, I would want to have some sweet different textures in the interior, some knobs and dials, but you know that already. We said this so many times here on the channels before, but it doesn't look like the new 7 Series is going to get that.